wants to throw it to Short. He caught it. He stole the first down. Oh, yes. The big man dives down the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful. Fields looking, pressured, hit from behind, taken down. Aiden Hutchinson got him.
No respect.
So, we look like we're ready. This is day one.
No respect.
All right, Lions fans, here we go. We're going to talk about something a little different tonight. Switch it up. And what I'm looking at and what I've been studying is offense versus defense in the Super Bowl. And what does it mean today? What did it mean last decade, the decade before that? What are the trends throughout these different eras? And what are the Lions doing right now that maybe helps or hurts our ability and chances to make a Super Bowl and then get there and win one? So those are the biggest questions I think that, everyone's trying to answer right now. And you really you can't. It's tough. And the reason why is because every era has a kind of a different momentum to it with, is defense winning championships, is offense winning championships. We've all heard it. The stigma is defense wins championships. And I'm here to tell you that's not true, or at least entirely. It's partly true. It's mostly true. I'd rather have a better defense, personally. But you can't win if you can't score either. And like we've seen, a few times over the last 3 seasons, the Lions can put up big points. But if you can't generate a stop and the other team is able to score just as many, well, then it comes down to clean football. Whoever has the first turnover is probably going to lose. Or, whoever has a dumb penalty in the wrong situation is probably going to lose. So having a big, powerful offense only gets you so far if you can't generate at least one key stop throughout the game. And that's kind of where all of this is going to lead us to is, are the Lions on the right path? So I want to wind it all the way back to, well, I guess here's a statement. Defense wins championships. That was the early to mid 2000s. Offense won championships. That's today. Neither of them wins championships. There was the 2007 and 2011 Giants. So the analysis that I've read and kind of compiled is an analysis that shows like the regular season rank of every Super Bowl winner since the merger and kind of where the trends, for the Super Bowl winners were and where they were ranked, higher on offense or defense. There are some notable time periods where you can kind of see trends in terms of winning, with defenses carrying the team, as well as eras like now where more teams tend to excel with a better offense, which is interesting. So I kind of shot myself in the foot right there because I wasn't going to tell you that offense is winning championships just yet. I was going to save that. So here's the precursor. Right now, the Lions are building a pretty potent offense. And for at least the last 5 seasons, offenses have won championships, hands down. And it's not even close in some years. Like last season, not even close. So is Brad Holmes doing it right? Are we just seeing it wrong? A lot of us really want better defense. I don't think anyone's going to argue that we have some holes on the defense, that we're generating pressures, but we're not getting home. We're not generating the big third down stops. We're not generating enough 3 and outs. And I guess what I've seen this team build the last 3 seasons is an extremely potent offense, but an extremely potent special teams unit. And if you can win on 2 out of the 3 areas, right, then you have a better opportunity at winning the game. It's just numbers. So if your punter is that good and you can constantly bury these guys, the 5, 6, 7 yard line, well, then your defense can go to work with a short field, right? But if your offense is really good, we're able to go up and down the field quickly and score at will, then you're really just hedging your bets that your defense is going to get one stop somewhere or a turnover. And I'd say the majority of the time, I believe that the Lions can go in and do that. But all too often, we see that they can't. And like we saw against the Chargers game, we pretty much saw, a foot race that they would line up, hit the 40, line up, hit the 100, line up, hit the 40 over and over and over again. And nobody was stopping the other team, at least in the second half. So, all right, here we go. 2000 to 2005. We'll start there. You might have been able to suggest, in this era, the defense definitely won championships. The average Super Bowl winner had a defense that was ranked 8 spots ahead or better than their average offense throughout the season. So the average defense for the Super Bowl winner was 2.3, and the average offense was 10.5. And what these numbers mean, it's truly just a pure ranking. Like if you were to go to NFL.com and look at, offense ranks, for the season, that's what these numbers would be based on. It's, like right now, if the Lions had a top 15 defense in the league, and if their offense was ranked, 10 spots higher, then that would be a top 5 offense. So just to keep it in layman's terms, I don't want to make it too difficult. But during this time period of 2000 to 2005, you had 6 Super Bowl winners, right? 3 of the 6 were ranked number 1 on defense. The 2000 Ravens, the 2002 Bucks, and the 2003 Patriots. Phenomenal defenses back then. The other 3 Super Bowl champions were also ranked higher on defense. 2004 Patriots were ranked number 2. 2005 Steelers were ranked number 3. And the 2001 Patriots, again, were ranked number 6. So this era could be an era of the defense. And it might just be that it's heavily influenced by one team, which was the Patriots, who won 50% of the Super Bowls during that time period of 6 seasons. And they were highly ranked defenses. So is that skewed a little bit because it was just one team? Maybe. But then we'll go to 2006 to 2015, which is considered to be the golden era of being mediocre. During this time, the average Super Bowl winner ranked only 10.5 in the league for points per game scored and allowed. And in this chart that I reviewed, there were, spikes showing in, where the average offense and defense were ranking a little bit worse at times. And the team that exemplified this era the best was really the 2007 and 2011 Giants, where they won the 2 worst combined rankings, or they won 2 Super Bowls with the worst combined rankings of any team as a Super Bowl champion. It still blows my mind that they even won. How poorly they were ranked clearly didn't matter. In 2007, they averaged a ranking of 15.5. And in 2011, they averaged a 17. So you're telling me right now, if you were to go look at the 15th, 16th, 17th ranked teams in the league right now, that one of them might win the Super Bowl this year? That it's really possible? And it is. So I found that really interesting. But in the past 53 years, since the merger, there have been only 8 Super Bowl winners to be ranked on average of 10th or worse for offense and defense combined. Let me say that again. In the 53 years since the merger, there have only been 8 Super Bowl winners that were ranked with an average of 10th or worse for offense and defense combined. 7 of them came during this 10-year era of mediocrity, which is between 2006 and 2015. And only 1 of them occurred during the other 43 years. The 2006 Colts average rank was 12.5. The 07 and 11 Giants mentioned above were the other team. The 08 Steelers were at 10.5. The 2009 Saints were at 10.5. And the Ravens were 11.0. And the Broncos, 11.5. They were all Super Bowl champions during seasons with relatively poor points per game rankings during the regular season. Now, what I gathered from those numbers, though, is if you are outside of the top 12, you really don't have a chance. But if you are inside the top 12, I mean, you just heard it. There's 10 teams right there that won Super Bowls, or 10 seasons right there where Super Bowls were won by teams that were ranked between 10 and 12, offense and defense combined, points per game. I mean, that's making me even all the more hopeful for the Lions to just get in the dance. All we got to do is dance. And we'll let the music take us to the end. All right, so the next imbalanced era, or the complete imbalanced era, is 2000 to present day, 23 seasons, well, 22 seasons. We are also kind of in this era of extremes too, where you've got some really heavily influenced seasons for Super Bowl winners that are, you know, number 1 type teams, or like a number 1 and a number 16. I mean, just crazy values. But the absolute value of the gap between the Super Bowl champions' offensive rank and defensive rank is almost 9 positions. So that means if you had the number 1 ranked offense, your defense would be like 9 or 10. This is more than twice as large as the gap between the rankings from 1970 to 1999. And if you think about it, from 1970 to 1999, I mean, those were the days of defense. I mean, you want to talk about heart pounding, hard hitting, knock you off your feet. You know, you're getting up bloodied and bruised and broken, and you're still playing. You got your bell rung 3 or 4 times in the game, and you're still playing. Not saying that's a good idea. Not a good idea. But they just didn't have the same type of medical advancements that we do today. And I also feel like today, I think guys take their health a little bit more serious. I think that they have more to care about now, or, you know, as to where back then, why didn't they? I don't know. Different mindset. Grew up in a different era, right? I mean, even my era, I grew up playing with sticks and stones and making slingshots out of whatever I could find, and, you know, hunting, you know, in my backyard. I mean, that's just the type of stuff that we did. We played football in the street, or baseball, or kickball, or dodgeball, or whatever we could do with a ball. We climbed trees. We built forts. We would swim in the local creeks. Nowadays, kids don't even go outside the damn house. So a little bit different. We are a different breed. And even before us was even more different by the things that they did. And in the, you know, all right, I'm not going to go off into all that. This generation's weak. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. So the 2008 Steelers, they were the extreme the other way, with this wide separation of offense for defense. Number 1 ranked defense, 20th ranked offense, won the Super Bowl. So it can be done. But again, defense wins championships, right? That's what everybody thinks. And it's really not true. Throughout the last 22 Super Bowls, it's been highly imbalanced. And even more today, like I said earlier, is more influenced by the offense. The NFL clearly injected some rules over the last 6 seasons to make this a more offensive style of game. They got a lot of pressure of the CTE. And if you look at the trend of when all of that started to come down and the way that the NFL has trended since, rules were put in place to try to limit the over the middle hits, knocking out quarterbacks. But most importantly, I mean, the middle linebackers and the safeties, they can't do what that position was really meant to do. Would one, to stop the run, and two, to kind of guard the middle of the defense. And when you can't do that, you're taking away a lot of those big plays. When you can't hit a guy because he's not looking at you, you're not going to get those big blowups and the potential for a big hit and a hard landing and something that could potentially impact your neck and your head. And I'm not saying that we need to go back to, knocking guys out. But what I'm saying is you can see the trend and how the offense is now more of the NFL's plan. It's not so much the defense. So with all in all, there were 12 Super Bowl champions out of the 23 since 2000 that had ranking gaps between the offense and defense of 7 positions or greater. And this happened only 4 times in the 30 years leading up to 2000. So why does all this matter? What am I really even talking about? Well, what I'm trying to tell you and what I'm trying to figure out is, what in the world is Brad Holmes doing? Like, what is the plan? Because everybody wanted defense. Every analyst on these media, bigger media companies, all the 3-letter, 4-letter companies out there, we're all screaming defense for the Lions. Jalen Carter, among others. And Brad Holmes said, nope, I'm going to go offense first, then defense, then back to offense, then maybe defense, then maybe offense. Totally went against the grain. And I think that's what makes him special, is that nobody knows what he's thinking. I mean, some of us know what kind of guys he likes and what kind of guys are going to fit. We just don't know where he has them pegged. What is a 3rd round pick he might have as a 1st. It's been that different. But when I look back at the 2022 Chiefs, their offensive rank was number 1 when they won the Super Bowl. Their defensive rank, 16. The year before that, the 2021 Rams, their offensive rank, 7th. Defensive rank, 15th. And that's really hard to believe with that Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey led defense. But that's what it was. In 2020, the Buccaneers, they had a pretty darn good team when Tom Brady decided to join that team, just made it better. Their offensive rank was number 3. Their defensive rank was number 7. In 2019, the Chiefs, again, pretty even. They were 5 on offense, 7 on defense. 2018, Patriots, 4 on offense, 7 on defense. Eagles, 2017, closest yet. 3 on offense, 4 on defense. Patriots in 2016, 1 on defense, 3 on offense. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, the last 6 years. Higher offense, lower defense. Separation, I think it averages about 7 or 8, but really when you look at it, it's more like 4, 5, or 6, somewhere in that neighborhood. So if the offense is the new trend for the NFL and you look at what the Lions are doing, we are ranked, second, third best offense in the league. And we have been since last season. And that's not going to go away anytime soon as long as Ben Johnson and Jared Goff stick around. So are the Lions in the driver's seat to win the Super Bowl? That's the question. And if you look at our defense right now, which I'm curious where we even are, I would say the Lions are a top 15 for sure. Well, let's just look. Let's take a look. I'm sorry I'm doing this on the video live. I like to normally have all this stuff put together before, but you just never know how the video is going to go. You really don't. Everything I do is 100% organic, and all my information that I like to compile and the research I do. You guys would think I'm nuts, but on some shows that I do, I literally write 15, 16 pages of notes. And it's like a big, long story. I write a lot of this stuff as articles, and I just don't do articles anymore. I just do it as videos instead. So, all right. So if I'm looking at defensive rankings for week 11, well, as a fantasy team, the Lions are the third best defense. That's not what I'm looking for. Here we go. Okay, so the Lions are ranked as the 9th best defense right now. They are giving up 310 yards a game. Passing defense, they are ranked 20th. Rushing defense, they are ranked 3rd. Scoring defense, we've got to be way down on the list here. 21. It's not as bad as I thought. We're at 22.6 points per game. Last season, I think we were closer to 25, 27, something like that, which is way too high. The Lions got to get this number back under 20. That's where a majority of teams win, is when you're keeping opponents below 20 points a game. Our red zone defense, not the greatest, ranked 30th in the league. Third down defense, we're ranked 7th. So I guess here's what I'm looking at. And here's my overall thought. If Brad Holmes has the notion that he's going to be able to get this team into the dance and have the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl by building a very highly potent offense, I would say that he's right. I mean, I can't question the guy. He's in that chair for a reason. And when I look at the trends, clearly that's the trend. The question becomes, though, is our offense potent enough against a really good defense? Because if I'm looking, at these defensive ranks, there's only been 2 teams out of the last, dating back to 2012, there's only been 3 teams with a defense ranked 12th or worse. So you best believe that the Lions are going to face a top 10, more like a top 7 defense. What defenses have we faced this season so far that are in that category that make you feel good about the fact that we can score and keep scoring? It won't sputter out. I feel fairly confident. I mean, when I look at number one, are we healthy? Because if we're healthy, I say we can hang with just about anybody. If the offensive line is able to keep Jared Goff upright, that's all we need. The running game will do its thing as long as the offensive line is healthy. But if we're missing any major pieces to this offensive line, it all changes in a hurry. So that's where I wanted to bring this to your attention, is maybe we should temper our expectations a little bit and allow Brad Holmes to continue doing what he's doing without so much of our criticism. And I'm not saying I overly criticize Brad Holmes, because I don't. He's probably the first general manager out of the last 30, 40 years that, or at least since I've been alive, that he's got my full trust as a fan. Not that it means anything to him. It's just part of the process, right? I mean, the organization does have somewhat of a relationship and image to uphold with the fans. I mean, we are the ones that are supporting the team and buying the tickets and buying the gear and everything else. Without us, you don't really have a team. You're not going to get all the money that the NFL needs. Not saying that one boycotted team would ruin the NFL, because it wouldn't. And even when we stunk, we still showed up. So let me boil this down, the last 2 minutes of this video or so. I think that the Lions have more of an opportunity to win a Super Bowl this season with the team that we have right now, without adding any major components to the defense. I'm not saying to not go out and add an Ndamukong Suh or a Jason Pierre-Paul or, another defensive player, a cornerback or a safety for depth, because we always could use depth. And as I'm doing this video, we did sign Bruce Irvin today, who is going to be a very good depth piece. Somebody that we can lean on if we get in trouble. Somebody that can also step in and play if we need to rest players. I found that our Lions team is more apt to allow players an extra game of rest coming back from an injury, as opposed to rushing them back and causing more issues that really doesn't help your team win, because those players can't play to full capacity. If you're not 100%, this team doesn't want you on the field. That's how I view it from the outside looking in. Could be totally different between the walls of Allen Park. And we'll never know that. So when I look at all of this and what it really means to me is very simple. Brad Holmes is building an offensive powerhouse. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he's doing that because the trends are pointing him in the direction that offense right now wins championships. The rules are set up in a way to stop defenses from being aggressive or overly aggressive. When you can't be aggressive enough and you get flagged for ticky-tack stuff, it's hard to win in big games, because typically, a good team, a top 10 team in every category or collectively, is going to force you to play clean football. One turnover could hurt you. One penalty, in the red zone, a 15-yarder, could end the game. So he's building on the side of the offense, knowing that as long as we just put up one more point, we're going to win the game. So that's the answer, folks, at least right now. And the last point that I'm going to make is this. When Brad Holmes does finally add those extra pieces on the defense, we're already there. The Lions are already in the wheelhouse to contend for a Super Bowl. We have a top 10 defense, top 9 according to this. We have a top 3 offense. We're already there. according to this chart, we would have won the last 2 Super Bowls. Maybe even the last 3. So it can be done. Brad Holmes has got us on the right path. I want to know from you in the comments, do you think we're there? Based on what I just read to you. And this is a very historical analysis that's broken down into an offensive and defensive rank for Super Bowl champions since the merger. This dates all the way back to 1970. I have stats and graphs in, y-axis. I mean, you name it. I got it all in this thing. And it breaks everything down and tells us exactly who was who and what was what. And it was mind-blowing, to say the least, to find out that we've had some teams, not many, but we've had some teams win with a 20th ranked offense or defense. Or in the same season, a 14th ranked offense and a 17th ranked defense. Truly average, mediocre team. That's why it's any given Sunday. And that's why I'm a fan of the NFL, because you just never know what's going to happen. All right, look, do yourself a favor and check below. If you guys haven't subscribed and you're just now finding Rock On Detroit Lions for the first time, we'd love for you to connect with us and hit that subscribe button, toggle your notification bell, and you're going to get videos just like this dropping into your inbox or your message center, whatever you've got set up. And we love for you guys to come along for the ride. For the rest of the season, our top engagers and people that send us the most comments, join the most lives, we're going to be giving away char broil grill covers, 1 a week for the rest of the season. Thanks to one of our sponsors, VillainSquad.store. Villain Squad is a 100% organic and local company that designs and develops new t-shirts and sweatshirts and all sorts of Lions gear, football gear, you name it. Memes, meme themed. And you can check them out at www.villainsquad.store. They are also affiliated and linked with Amazon partners. So if there's something that you like on Amazon, you might find it in our store. You'll pay the same price. You get the same shipping. You're just clicking our link before you click theirs. That's it. That's the best way you can help support us, is simply just by subscribing and watching a video. And if you want to go the extra mile, there's super chats in our live streams. Don't know what they are yet, but you can send us one. There's stars through Facebook. And you've got www.villainsquad.store. Check it out today. Go One Pride. Go Detroit Lions. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Wants to throw it to Short. He caught it. He's going a first down. Oh, yes. The big man dives down the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful. Fields looking pressured, hit from behind, take it down. Aiden Hutchinson got him.
No respect.
So, we look like we're ready. This is day one.
No respect.